In this video, I'm going to be talking about why project schedule management is a critically important part of project management. Now, project scheduling can be one of the most frustrating parts of project management. You're constantly juggling different stakeholder requirements, different bits of input information, and constantly changing dates and updates from project teams. However, stick with me. I'm going to show you why it's such a critically important part of project management. I want to specifically talk about how project scheduling relates to project success, the goal of a project manager to achieve the project outcomes, and also why you should bother mastering the skill. So why it's going to improve your career progression, why it's going to accelerate your career, and how ultimately it's going to help you deliver more successful projects. First reason I want to talk about is that time equals money. Now, you might have heard this phrase, but as it relates to projects, this is 100,000% true that time equals money. And whether we work for a business or even a non-profit, ultimately, projects always have a financial component to them. We're trying to create something that's valuable, that generates income, and we're trying to do it at the lowest possible cost. So, premise behind why scheduling matters in a lot of ways is going to relate to how it delivers value and how we minimize cost. So there's two ways that time equals money and that efficient and effective scheduling is going to help your project's financial outcomes. So the first one is that earlier completion of projects will generally increase the amount of value delivered. They're proportional to each other. Imagine we're building a solar farm. The quicker we can build the solar farm, the quicker it can start generating electricity, and the more money we can make, the earlier we can start receiving income from it. So delivering the project faster is going to increase the amount of value delivered by the project. On the other hand, though, decreasing the duration of the project, efficiently and effective scheduling is also going to reduce the cost. The biggest way that we're going to see this is via our indirect costs. So indirect costs are the costs of our staff salaries, the ongoing recurring costs incurred throughout the project lifecycle. If a project takes less time to deliver, we're going to pay less salaries, we're going to pay for less ongoing higher costs. So the cost of the project is going to be less if we efficiently schedule. For this to be true, it relies on the premise that efficient and effective scheduling reduces project duration. And that is the goal of project scheduling. It's the tools and processes we use to manage the time component of the project. Project scheduling reduces the project duration through critical path optimization. So it identifies the sequence of activities that push out the project duration. So the sequence of tasks that, if delayed, delay project completion. Then when we're building the scheduled baseline, we focus on optimizing the critical path and hence reduce the overall duration of the project schedule. Also helps us to optimize the use of our resources, allocate resources to the correct tasks, the tasks that are on the critical path or near critical path, so that we're not blowing out our project duration with poor resource allocation. Helps us coordination and effective coordination of different trades, different subcontractors, different vendors, input from stakeholders to avoid delays to the schedule. And it's going to help us to manage any delays and integrate changing requirements more effectively. When you use all these tools, pull them together, and using effective project scheduling, we're going to reduce the duration of our project, which is going to save us money. So scheduling reduces the overall duration of our project, also helps us to effectively and more efficiently use our resources and reduce our costs. So the less resources we use roughly is going to correlate to the less costs we incur. So scheduling is a requirement of effective resource allocation. We need to understand the availability and timing of resources, map the activities in the project schedule. We want to prioritize the allocation of resources to activities that are on the critical path or near critical path and have a low float. We'll optimize the use of these resources. So for example, we're not mobilizing resources to the site, paying for the mobilization, demobilizing them, remobilizing them, incurring costs like that. It's also going to plan and sequence our activities so we're avoiding coordination and delays, which is going to lead to more non-productive time. So scheduling is going to help with our efficient resource allocation. Okay, so in addition to helping with the project costs, the project resource uses, scheduling is also going to enhance communication. The schedule is the tool we use to communicate to all the different stakeholders of the project when everything is going to happen. So that's important for the client, the project owner, so they're aware of progress. They're happy that they're going to get the project outcomes by the project delivery date, so it's going to keep the client happy. It's going to keep stakeholders happy. So those are the individuals who are impacted by the project works. So we're able to inform them of any disruption, any events that will impact them during the project's execution. We're able to keep our stakeholders happy by telling them exactly when these events are going to happen. And then also it's going to help with our subcontractors and vendors to coordinate and manage their work. So we'll be able to tell them what date they're needed on site, how long they're needed for, and so on and so forth. So effectively, the project schedule is a communication tool. Project schedules are going to enhance communication with all the different stakeholders of the project throughout the project lifecycle. Okay, so scheduling helps with costs, resources, managing our stakeholders and communication, but it also helps to manage risk. Now, risk is the uncertainty that matters on the project. Principal way that the project schedule helps us to manage risk is that it helps us to identify the uncertain events and conditions that could delay the project. So these are going to be the uncertain events and conditions that have the potential to impact critical path or near critical path activities. And it also helps us to understand what contingency and management reserves we should hold, that in case certain uncertain events happen, like weather delays, like delays from subcontractors or other external events that we have no control over, it helps us to calculate how much contingency we should hold for and how much management reserve we should hold. And the final one is that scheduling, in addition to helping us reduce costs, in addition to help us deliver value faster, the schedule is a cost management and control tool. If we manage the schedule, we manage our resources, we manage the use of our labor, we're managing and controlling costs for the project. It's also going to help us manage our cash flow, the timing of when we incur costs, which is going to help with financing and avoiding any additional financing costs. So in summary, the schedule is a fundamental project management tool, helps us to deliver value faster, reduce the cost in doing so, effectively and efficiently use our resources, communicate key stakeholders and keep them informed of project progress, manage and control costs, and ultimately deliver a successful project outcome. And it does all of these things through being able to reduce the overall duration of the schedule and effectively plan and prepare for any upcoming events.